capitalism has centered itself within South Africa. Do you still feel there's a place for it within this country at this very moment?
So, a very good and sober understanding of politics is that you must understand politics within a global context all the time.
Sure.
You can always isolate countries and want to assess them. Let me give you some factual and logical basic information about what has happened in the world now. So of the 1 billion people who were taken out of absolute poverty in the world over the past 20, 25 years, 30 years, more than 800 million of those were taken out of poverty in the People's Republic of China, which is run by a Communist Party of China, and repeatedly and correctly says that its driving ideology is Marxism-Leninism, which works. Actually, in the recent past conference of the Communist Party of China, General Secretary Xi Jinping says that we got to take more than 800 million people out of absolute poverty because of proper application of Marxism-Leninism. The other country, by the way, that got to realize fastest levels of economic growth, development, and common prosperity is Vietnam. And it's led by the Vietnamese Communist Party. It applies socialist politics and politics in terms of what happens. There is not a single country in the African continent that has ever practiced socialism. All of them were driven by capitalist philosophy and ideology, and all of them were dismal failure in terms of what happens. The manner in which you position the politics must take into consideration what have been the developments all over the world and what are the comparative success stories on how you drive economic growth and how you get to realize the development of the productive forces as led by the state, and what then becomes the role of the private sector in terms of that regard. The Federal Republic of Ethiopia is the most successful economy in the African continent in the past 15 years, with average growth of 10%. There is a visible and meaningful strategic state participation in the economy. There is meaningful and clearly defined relationship between the Federal Republic of Ethiopia and the People's Republic of China, which has led to common prosperity in terms of what happens. And all other countries that fell into the trap of neoliberal capitalism, which is a system that says that you must not protect your infant industries, you must allow the other countries like from Europe, from the Northern America, from all over to come and dump finished goods and products into your economy. That has led to the underdevelopment and the perennial unresolved underdevelopment of almost all African countries. And that is the crisis that we're still dealing with. And we are, of course, going to listen to the people of South Africa as to what is the best economic model that we should pursue to lead to collective economic prosperity for all the people of South Africa. If our people say that we should pursue a mixed economic system, we should listen to that. But we will be able to illustrate through evidence-based information and knowledge that actually the countries that got to defeat poverty over the last 15, 20, 25 years, 30 years are the countries that have done the following things. Shouldn't we consider this as part of the options as to how we handle economic development moving forward? It's an issue which, of course, will be subjected to thorough scrutiny and scientific discussions and delimitation so that no one feels like there is an imposition of some narrow ideological position which is not based on scientific assessment on whether the outcome is guaranteed or not on how we move forward. So basically we open to listen to everyone else, but whoever comes with an input must illustrate to us how continuation with neoliberal capitalism is going to uplift the lives of our people. Someone must illustrate to us how not changing the property relations where white minority owns 80% of the land is going to reduce poverty and inequality in South Africa. Someone must illustrate to us how the total ownership of all the strategic mineral resources is preserved for multinational greedy corporations is going to uplift the lives of our people. So we need to discuss that openly. So if a person believes that let's leave Lone Mean and Anglo-American and BHP Billiton, Exaro and all of those to continue to super exploit our natural and mineral resources. If they say believe that that is what is going to take us of poverty, they must illustrate how it's going to deal with poverty. We will listen to everything else, but we've got views, we've got information, we've got knowledge as to what has not worked here in South Africa and what has not worked in any part of the world. And we've got some degree of knowledge as to what works elsewhere in terms of some of the principles. But we are going to listen to everyone and we will come with a solution once we have consolidated the perspective.